Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? Ready for some drama from Askalawyer? Let's go to the first one, about OP, who refuses to give her engagement ring and family jewelry that belonged to her ex's family to his new girlfriend. Listen to the story to find out all the details, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. So I, 24 female, was with Ken, 28 male, for 5 years on and off. We go back when I was in 2nd grade, and he was in 6th grade. Had the biggest crush for a long time. We did get together when I was 19 and he was 23. He's my older brother's best friend, still are best friends. We do have a 2-year-old son together, so you can get the backstory. We broke up due to him moving to a different state a few months ago. Now he moved back because his grandmother is not doing well. We didn't get back together. He, however, reconnected with his first girlfriend from high school. Let's call her Molly, 32 female, which she also used to date his older cousin. For some reason, Molly never liked me, and I didn't really initiate any bad feelings towards her. I don't really know her, but she is good with our son. However, not good with me. I treat her with kindness when she's around, and I usually leave her alone. She just gives me these glares, and says a lot of really passive-aggressive stuff a lot to me, which I don't let it get to me. Ken's family really adores me, and I love them so much back. When I was with Ken, he did propose to me with his grandmother's ring, which I still do have. His grandmother also gave me her silver jewelry with turquoise on them, and some vintage Western jewelry, which were in their family for years. She also gave me a very special ring and bracelet that I wear every day. The ring is a matching ring, which Ken has as well. It belonged to his step-grandfather and his grandmother. However, Molly learned of this. She demanded I give her all the silver jewelry and the engagement ring, especially the matching rings. She thinks I should give them to her, because she's going to be in their family now, and I'm going to be second fiddle. She had said that the only reason I'm around is because we have a child. Of course, I told her no, and had said that these jewelry means so much to me and was given to me, and Ken's family is a second family to me. That seemed to make her more angry, and it got to the point I had to block her. Yet she still continues to harass me about it. I told Ken about it, and he said he will take care of it, but it still is happening. His grandmother is literally like a second grandmother to me. I did lose my grandmother from my father's side when I was 14, and it was really hard on me, until I met Ken's grandmother, and we talked a lot, and see each other from time to time, where I see her as my grandmother. I cherish them so much, and especially now that she's not doing so well. So am I the a-hole for not giving it back to her? Edit. Everyone's saying I should give the engagement ring back. I forgot to add that Ken's grandmother wants me to keep it, and Ken doesn't care for it. He wants me to keep it. So does the rest of Ken's family. His older 2 sisters don't want, or his older brother. It's just Molly who's making it a problem. Well, I think she has no claim at all to the ones his grandmother gave to OP. Those are OP's, whether OP is with him or not. Usually, you should be returning the engagement ring if you're the one to break engagement. If it was not OP's initiative, it's OP's. I can tell that Ken and Molly aren't going to last if she's already this jealous of OP and her relationship to the family. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Individual Net 6348 says, not the a-hole, because presumably you will leave the jewelry to your son someday, and therefore the family heirlooms will stay in the family. If you cave to Molly's demands, then you will rob your son of his birthright. It was Ken's grandmother's wishes for the jewelry to pass down through your branch of the family tree. The only way you would be the a-hole is if you did something heartless like pawn the ring for cash. Medium Buffalo Wing says, not the a-hole. Molly doesn't have a right to ask for those things. I would say the only person that could ask for them would be Ken's grandmother, since they seem to be family heirlooms. Molly is massively overstepping her bounds. Basic Stove 1336 says, I always think it's incredibly disrespectful not to give back a family heirloom when it is an engagement, wedding ring, when there's a breakup, regardless of how close you are to his family. For this, you are definitely the a-hole, unless your ex and his grandmother both want you to keep it. If that's the case, not the a-hole. When it comes to the other jewelry, they are gifts that are yours unless you decide otherwise. My 48 female, pregnant daughter, 25, and her husband are moving back to our city because of a job offer for my son-in-law. They asked us to move in with us for a year or so because they couldn't find an affordable house immediately. They will eventually buy a house here. I'm thrilled that she is coming back, not only because I missed having her close to me, but also because of the help I can provide for her when the baby is born. However, there is a big problem. We have 3 bedrooms. My husband and I have the master bedroom, and our son, 16, has the second largest one. These 2 rooms are really large. The third room is not small per se, but in comparison to the other 2, it is. Also, too small for 2 people and a baby. My son had the smallest room until his sister moved out 2 years ago. He was very happy with his new room. I know that it is kinda mean to ask him to move back into the smaller room, and his father and I are willing to compensate to him. His dad offered him a new gaming PC, and when that didn't convince him, he said he can have a new phone of his choosing on top of that. But my son is adamant about staying in his room. He even called his pregnant sister to tell her to F off and stay where she is. She is very upset after his phone call and cried when she told me. She also said son-in-law has second thoughts about moving in with us after my son's tirade. Today, I told him to start moving his stuff into his old room and informed him that we ordered an iPhone 15 Pro for him and that his dad will buy him any PC he chooses. He is furious and accused me of playing favorites. I tried to explain to him that the circumstances demand this and that his sister needs to have privacy over his wants. But he refused to listen. He stormed out of the house a few hours ago and won't answer my calls. My husband thinks I went too far and was an a-hole for telling our boy that his sister's needs are more important. Am I the a-hole here? I get that he is angry, but his sister needs her family, including him right now, and that is more important than having the larger room. Edit 1. My daughter never was a golden child. She was always there for her brother and cared for him, and I love and treat my kids equally. She got the bigger room because she had much more clothes and needed a bigger closet. He spends most of his money for tech stuff that is far more expensive than whatever we gave her for clothes, before you get ideas. I didn't offer my room because this room is shared by 2 persons. He is 1. 2 persons need more space than 1 person. Edit 2. My son-in-law just called me. They will not move in with us. My son called them again and insulted both of them. Daughter is in tears. She can't understand why her baby brother wouldn't want her here. Final edit. I have to admit, I didn't think about how a baby would affect his sleep in his final school year. I made a mistake here. He will stay in his room. My daughter and her husband don't want to move in anymore anyways. But at this point, I don't know if I would let them even if they wanted. Well, I personally think OP is in the wrong here. Play favorites much? And by the way, bribing him isn't a good look either. I wonder how would OP like it if she got uprooted like that and then told, well, her needs are more important. OP should give up her master suite and give it to her needy daughter, so she has the room and her own bathroom, and OP takes the smallest room, since her needs are more important surely than OP's wants. The exact words OP said to her son. Problem solved. Wouldn't sound so appealing, I guess. But her needs are most important than anyone else in the home, according to OP. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Tati Barbaloot says, "You're the a-hole. You've shown your son for all of his life who the golden child is, and it's not him. He finally gets the chance to enjoy a perk, the larger room, and you yank it away from him because your golden child is coming back home. And then you can't understand why he isn't happy with your pathetic bribes. Try making him feel special for once, instead of trying to buy his compliance. Why don't you and your husband move to the smaller room and give your daughter and son-in-law your room? After all, it's only for a year. Surely that is a sacrifice you should be willing to make. After all, shouldn't your golden child's needs take priority over your wants?" Photos, Beers, and Teach says, "You're the a-hole. This is not an emergency situation. Your daughter is an adult. She is married to an adult. They, as adults, made the decision to move for a new job. They do not need to stay with you. If they haven't found an affordable house to buy, they could have rented until they found one. They are responsible for housing themselves and their child." Swimming Bag 4311 says, "Am I the only person thinking not the a-hole? Is the 16-year-old contributing to the bills? Is sister, etc.? The house at the end of the day is owned by the parents, and they get to say what goes. Having a family of 3 in a small room when there is just 1 person in a large room is insane. Son is an entitled brat, and heaven forbid he needs help in the future. If he burns these bridges now, what's he gonna do then? At the end of the day, if you don't pay, you don't get a say." We got married at a youngish age. He was 22 and I was 20 after about a year or so of dating. After a year, I had my son. We didn't expect to have a child so early, but we kind of just winged the parenting thing for over a decade. Fast forward to about 10 months ago. Our son's a sophomore in high school and decided to pull a prank with the seniors, but went too far. It resulted in a lot of damages, but no one was hurt. I don't want to get into the details of this prank because the local news covered it. The seniors gave their accounts, and it seems that my son was the main driver behind what happened. It eventually got to court, and as awful as it is, I thought that he should face the consequences, but my husband wanted to fight it. The lawyer really drained us, financially drained us. At the end of it all, my son's getting away with a slap on the wrist compared to what was initially stated. The last half year has been hell for me and put such a strain on my marriage that I don't think it can be salvaged. We've gone into debt through this whole ordeal. We're kind of the gossip of the town. I couldn't even go to a neighborhood event before virus with everyone just talking about me. This wasn't the first time our son has put a strain on us, but just a final straw for me. I just want to start fresh. I don't plan on fighting for custody. My husband can keep him. I failed him as a parent at this point. There's nothing to fight over in the divorce. We're spent. I just want out. Here's the would I be the a-hole part. If it comes up, like my son asks why the divorce is happening, or why I'm leaving, would I be the a-hole to tell him that he's the main reason? Obviously not the only reason, but he is the biggest factor, at least for me, and I don't feel like I should tiptoe around the truth. Update. I'll try to speak with my son and husband regarding some therapy or counseling. I'll try to set up rules for him, and me too, but I'm not sure what rules would apply to me. This has shown that I am woefully not self-aware and need their input to be better as a wife and mother. Update. Me and my husband talked, and we will have a family meeting tonight after my son gets home from his community service. Me and my husband have had some talks about this, but I think he is trying to fight the idea. It's going to happen either way. I don't care if he agrees or not. I'm just done, and honestly, I think it is my son's fault. OP's son is a stupid teenager who did a stupid teenager thing. OP should forgive and love her son. He is not the reason OP's marriage failed. OP and her husband are. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Montandem13 says, "You're the a-hole. You say you failed as a parent, and you still want to blame a literal child for your divorce? The cognitive dissonance. Maybe the reason your son behaves badly is because he doesn't have a good role model, since it's crystal clear from your post that you refuse to take responsibility. Withstand the consequences of your actions. Start fresh? Drop the euphemism and just say you're abandoning your child because he's not what you wanted him to be, and you're not willing to put any effort in raising him or correcting his behavior." Lightwood Orchestra says, "I've got news for you. Your son is not why you're getting divorced. It's because you're a coward who doesn't take responsibility for their own life, blames a child for their problems, and then abandons that child. You're the a-hole in the most major way." Talha01 says, "You say you failed as a parent, but you blame your kid for the fact that you're getting divorced? Doesn't that mean that you're the reason you're getting a divorce? Because you failed as a parent? You're the a-hole for wanting to blame your kid instead of taking responsibility for your bad parenting." I, 19 female, have two stepbrothers named Dave, 23 male, and Jack, 25 male. I have one half-brother who is 9. Growing up with him was honestly a nightmare. I don't get along with them or their mother, my stepmom. My mom died before they came into our lives, so she's really the only mother figure I've ever had. It'd be a whole lot to get into, but in general, they picked on and teased me from the moment I met them. Their mom played favorites quite a lot, and I would get disciplined for little things like leaving a light on while their sons lived in absolute filth and didn't shower for weeks. I was forced to get a job at 15, while my stepbrothers were allowed to live at home rent-free, no job or college. I moved out last year to stay at my step-aunt's, stepmom's sister. Almost everything I make goes to rent a room from her and still contribute to chores, housekeeping, for parts of the house that I'm not even allowed to use. Staying with her and still within my family's control is the only way they would let me keep in touch and see my little brother, who I practically raised. They use him to threaten me every time I do something they don't approve of. I went on a weekend trip with friends a few hours away. When I came back, I realized that my entire family was waiting for me on the couch. Older brothers, stepmom, and my dad, all just sitting there waiting for me to walk in the door. When I did, they started yelling at me and telling me that I'd turned my location off and that they couldn't text me because I ignored them. And how dare I tell my friends not to respond? Yes, they found and harassed my friends. The whole argument turned into them following me to my room. When I opened the door, I saw the entire thing was trashed. 3-day-old food, rotten bowls and plates, old pizza boxes, all piled up on my bed, which had been stripped of its sheets and was completely bare. Dirty clothes and trash everywhere. It smelled like pee. I lost my crap, and at that point, because I knew the stuff was my stepbrother's, when I asked why it was in there, they said they had let him and his friends play D&D and sleep there because they were in a rough spot, and boys just get rowdy sometimes. Let it stand that I have OCD, which I've learned to manage myself, but was crippling during high school and literally almost drove me off the deep end. I don't let it interfere with other people or their lives, but it very much impacts mine. And the fact that they allowed my stepbrother and his friends to trash my room, knowing that it would basically make the whole thing a biohazard for me, speaks volumes. I slammed the door in their faces, grabbed my essentials, and left. I haven't spoken to any of them since, but now they're accusing me of leaving my aunt without necessary income and overreacting. I responded by posting their texts to me online. Somehow the pictures found their way to my stepmom's boss. It's a very small town, and they're threatening to review her employment due to it. Am I the a-hole? Bad Bandit 1970 says, not the a-hole. Good. What they're doing is aggressive, both emotionally and financially. Her employers don't need a crap stain like her associated with their company. Frankly, it'd be embarrassing. Your father isn't innocent either. He bears culpability too, if not more. You were his child. He should have been protecting you, and he didn't. Crazy Life 61 says, so your stepmonster may lose her job over how poorly she and your family treat you. Good. It's gratifying to know that there are decent people around that are disgusted by how horribly you've been treated. You are not the a-hole in any way, but you will be to yourself if you go back there. Put them in your past and make a new life for yourself without them. Anime 8905 says, don't walk, run. Run and run some more. The job is your stepmom's responsibility, not yours.